Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and today's suggestion actually comes from my first ever subscriber. Some 2.5 years ago now, I think it is. My first ever subscriber was a guy called Francesco Gomez, and he made this suggestion for a track a short while ago, so we're going to be looking at that today. We're looking at a band called Attalus. Never ever heard of them, so obviously, as usual, had to do a little bit of research on them, and I didn't really find that much, but I found enough. What I found is Attalus is an American Christian rock band from Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm not sure if I've said the name of the place right there. Formed in 2010. They released 2 EPs and 2 albums independently before signing to Face Down Records and releasing their first studio album in 2015. This became their breakout release. However, in 2017 they released a statement on Facebook stating that the band was going on an indefinite hiatus. So there you go, 2 years after signing with a record label, they went on hiatus for, well, I'm going to say unspecified reasons, because they didn't go into much detail. They just said there was like struggles and stuff with the band, so you know, I don't know the exact reason as to why they've gone on hiatus, but you know, 2 years after signing on a label, and they've sort of disappeared into obscurity. Now, we're going to be looking at a track today called Sirens, and I believe this actually comes off their studio album, which I believe is called Into the Sea. So, yeah, the fact the song's called Sirens and it's off the album Into the Sea, sort of maybe a little bit of a hint as to the subject matter here. So yeah, I've got some lyrics up here, so I'll see if we can discern any meaning from them. So we'll jump into the track now and see what we get. So Attalus, Sirens, let's have a look.
Here come the sirens, charming and sweet, saying I got everything you need. Lions, prime for the feast. Beauty at times is just a side of the beast. Beauty at times is just a lie. Down upon your neck, the shadows fall upon the deck. They're fantasies that haven't yet turned into nightmares. I know the way seems so sublime, I know the rivers run with wine, but in the end, you're gonna find there is no line now. All they're breathing down upon your neck, the shadows fall upon the deck, like fantasies that haven't yet turned into nightmares. I know the way seems so sublime, I know the rivers run with wine, but in the end, you're gonna find it's all a lie. Stuck in your head, don't let
Well, there we go. That was Sirens by Attalus. Now, that was interesting. Yeah, I wasn't too sure about it when the song started, but then it really sort of picked up towards the end, and it's a very interesting song, and the style of it was quite different. There's all different sorts of elements thrown in together, several different vocal styles thrown in there. I mean, there was a point where he was just pretty much talking, then there was the parts where he was singing, then there was the parts where he was shouting, screaming, growling, etc. So they really mixed up the styles going into this song. Now, the actual song Sirens, sirens are from Greek mythology. They lured people to their deaths. They're supposedly beautiful looking creatures with beautiful voices that would lure sailors towards them, so the boats got scuppered on their rocks, and then they'd murder all the people on board. And amusingly, Attalus is actually a Greek name. I did very briefly look up what Attalus was, and it came up with so many different references it was hard to pin it down, but it was a common thing in Greece, so there seems to be a bit of a theme going on there. But here they seem to be using sirens as sort of like maybe a metaphor of sorts to suggest things that distract you from the path of righteousness and the path of righteousness, the path that leads to God, etc. That distracts you from the good book. So I mean, it opens here. Here come the sirens, charming and sweet, saying, I got everything you need. Hungry as lions, primed for the feast. Beauty at times is just a side of the beast. Beauty at times is just a lie. So that's just describing the sirens from the get-go. Here come the sirens, charming and sweet, saying, I got everything you need. So it's like, here come all these incredibly charming people telling you, I can give you this, I can give you that, trying to tempt you into evil and sin, and by making it seem all nice, and them trying to make themselves out to be nice, genuine people who just want to do something nice for you, whereas it says beauty at times is just a side of the beast, beauty at times is just a lie, so they're trying to be nice and kind to you, they're trying to lure you in, but really they just want to suck you dry for their own purposes. I mean, it even says they're hungry as lions, primed for the feast. So it's like, they're going to draw you in, and then they're just going to suck you dry and use you for their own purposes and just cast you aside when they no longer need you. It carries on. Voices of culture, charming and sweet, saying, I got something good to eat. Gather as vultures ready to feed, and before you know you're being swallowed up by greed, before you know you're being swallowed. So again, they're saying, don't get distracted by these fake promises of, riches, of, a happy future, only the path of God is, the right path, they're saying, we'll give you everything that you could possibly ever want, and before you know it, that you're craving all of these sort of material possessions, and that's going to drown you and bury you, that sort of thing. And of course, goes, don't get their songs stuck in your head. Don't let them lure you into bed. Don't heed the song of the sirens. You're gonna wind up dead. They're just devils in disguise. Hell's a sick mirage of paradise. Don't lift your eyes to the sirens. One look could take your life. Now, there are some parts to this song that I really don't agree with. I mean, obviously, there's a heavy, strong hint of religion in this song. They're going, don't get the song stuck in your head, don't let them lure you into bed, don't heed the songs of the sirens, you're going to wind up dead. So it's basically saying, don't listen to these liars, don't listen to these false promises of riches and health and wealth and what have you. Don't listen to this, because it's just going to, they're just going to suck you dry, they're going to bleed you dry, they're going to take everything from you and cast you aside like a soggy tissue, basically. Now, and it also says there, they're just devils in disguise, hell's sick mirage of paradise. And that's one thing that I highly disagree with, because we look at things like, they whilst there is possibly some truth to that, we've also got to look at the converse, where you've got these televangelists, these preachers and priests that go around from town to town, like, with faith healing, which is all utter bull. It's all fake. And like, you got these televangelists like saying the end of the world is coming, please donate a huge amount of money to our church, and we will save your soul. They are making empty promises. They are taking everything from you under the guise of doing something nice for you, which is pretty much what this song is talking about. False promises through lying teeth, promising you great stuff will happen, where in fact they're just using you for their own ends. Yet there's these people in religious capacities, like these televangelists, these people going around faith healing, placing hands on the sick and infirm and magically healing them, allegedly. These people are they're no better. And these are religious people who are following from the good book. So I do not actually agree with the message that this song is putting forth, because it's hypocritical. I don't agree with it at all. I mean, I can agree with it on certain terms. Like, you shouldn't get drawn in by lies. You shouldn't let yourself be taken advantage of. Don't let some charming snake talk their way into your life and then use you for their own ends. That bit I can agree with. But when they're saying things like, this is all the act of the devil, this is all the act of evil people, that I don't agree with. Because, well, I mean, obviously I think personally that these religious people that are like saying, give us money and, we'll guarantee your soul a place in heaven, these people, I think, are the most disgusting, sick and evil people on the planet. Because they are taking advantage of people's fear. They are taking advantage of people who are ill. They're taking they're taking money from these people, promising them things that they cannot deliver. Yet these people so firmly believe in their faith that they're willing to take the word of this person and, give over their life savings, because these skeevy people have manipulated these people into believing that their soul will be saved and they will be guaranteed a place in the afterlife, whereas these people are just like, I just want a new Mercedes, So I like the base message of it. I don't like the religious message of it, because let's just face it, religion in all its glory is just manipulation. Controlling people through fear. Anyway, the song carries on. I went on a bit of a rant there, I do apologise. The song carries on. Can you feel them breathing down your neck? Their shadows fall upon the deck. Their fantasies haven't yet turned into nightmares. I know their ways seem so sublime. I know the rivers run with wine. But in the end you're gonna find there's no light there. Oh, they're breathing down upon your neck. Their shadows fall upon the deck, like fantasies that haven't yet turned into nightmares. I know their way seems so sublime. I know their rivers run with wine. But in the end you're gonna find it's all a lie. Be not betrayed by their cries, lest you be dragged to the depths. Don't let them feed you a lie. Don't let them feed on your flesh. And see, this is the element that I do agree with. It's like these vultures in everyday life that try and prey upon like the vulnerable, the sick, the infirm, people that these sorts of people are disgusting. I hate these people. How can these people sleep at night? There isn't a day that goes by when we get spam phone calls from random people saying, hi, can I speak with such and such a person? We heard that he was in a car accident recently. Really? Must have been a bad car accident, because I can't remember it. But, these sorts of people are phoning up saying things like, if you don't tell us this, that and the other, we're from said phone company or internet company, and someone is trying to hack your internet, so you need to give us XYZ details and we'll sort it out for you. You know, or these people that are, you know, these sorts of things are going on all the time. How can these people sleep at night knowing that they are purposefully scamming people, especially more often than not the elderly and infirm and the disabled? You know, these people are scamming innocent people, vulnerable people, and somehow they're able to go to sleep at night. And this song is basically like, don't let these sort of people get to you. Don't let them in. Do not, you know, don't fall for their lies. Don't fall for their bull. You know, there's, you know, because once they get their claws into you, they will not let go, and they will tear you to shreds, and they will take every single thing from you until there is nothing of you left but an empty husk, and then they will just cast you aside without a second thought. They don't care about you. All they care about is your money, that sort of thing. You know, so that's the base message of the song that I really like. But when they're saying it's all the hell and the devil's work, and you know, no, I don't agree with that. Anyway, it goes back into that chorus. Don't get the song stuck in your head. Don't let them lure you into bed. Don't heed the song of the sirens. You're gonna wind up dead. They're just devils in disguise. Hell's sick mirage of paradise. Don't lift your eyes to the sirens. One look could take your life. Then it went into an outro, which was... can you feel them breathing down upon your neck? Their shadows fall upon your deck. Their fantasies haven't yet turned into nightmares. I know their way seems so sublime. I know their rivers run with wine. But in the end, you're going to find there's no light there. Oh, they're breathing down upon your neck. Their shadows fall upon your deck. Like fantasies that haven't yet turned into nightmares. I know their way seems so sublime. I know their rivers run with wine. But in the end, you're going to find it's all a lie. So... you know, the actual song itself, it started off a bit odd. I wasn't too sure about the song at the start, but like I said, it got better as the song progressed, as it got sort of, well, heavier and more sort of rock towards the end of the track. You know, it wasn't bad, and you know, the performance was fairly decent. It had a sort of almost slightly prog feel to it as well. You know, there was a bit of sort of experimental prog in there, maybe. So, you know, it was interesting. It's not something I think I would go out of my way to listen to. And, you know, like I said, I don't agree with some of the message they're putting across. I agree with the base message, but not the insinuation that, you know, religion is pure good, because you do get these lying manipulators who will take advantage of the infirm and the elderly, and, you know, these people that are easily frightened. You know, you get those in the Christian faith, in all religious faith. You know, you get these people that will scam anybody they can out of money under the guise of helping, under the guise of, you know, promises. You know, everything they say sounds really good. It sounds brilliant. It sounds like everything you've ever wanted. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. You know, and these sort of people come up in religion as well, and the insinuation in this song is that it's only, you know, evil people that have come, you know, that are doing the devil's work that do it, and that's not true. So, but anyway, I've ranted on enough about that, so I'm going to leave it as it is. Yeah. Anyway, you know, I've covered several Christian rock bands, and a lot of them I do like. You know, some of them do have, you know, religious messages in their songs, and you know, I can get behind some of them. You know, things like I think it was you know, I've covered Flyleaf. There's been a couple of others, and the names completely elude me right now. But, you know, I've covered Christian bands before. I don't really have that much of a problem, you know, with them putting forward messages like that. But the way this one's being put forward, I don't like. So, you know, and everybody knows I'm not a religious person. I don't agree with religion at all. I just think it's manipulative lying, you know, used to control people through fear. But that's me. I know it helps some people. Whatever works for you. But yeah. I'm going to leave that as it is. Otherwise, I could rant on about this for ages, but I'm going to leave that as it is. Now, if anybody would like to suggest a track for me to react to, then please do so by all means. You can drop a comment in the comment section below, or message me on my Facebook or my Instagram, or you can even message me through Patreon, where you could also help to support this channel, which of course would be a great help to me. There is an option in Patreon where you can get your suggestion jumped to the front of the queue, should you so desire. There is a limitation on how frequently you can do that, however, and that's just to be fair to people who suggest tracks through regular means, through like Facebook, YouTube and Instagram comments. If you do suggest a track through those regular means, do know it might take me a while to get around to your suggestions, since I do get suggested a lot of tracks every single day and I can't record the videos fast enough. But I do write down every suggestion I get, so it'll get done eventually. It just might take me a while to get around to it, I'm afraid. Also, Metalhead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose main goal is to put an end to hate crimes, mainly those aimed towards people of the alternative culture, but, you know, essentially they want to put an end to all hate crimes. But attacks on people of the alternative culture is how the foundation came into being in the first place, and it's something I believe in very, very strongly, because it's something that's been going on for many, many, many years and has been widely ignored, and that's something I feel needs to change. Because every day all around the world, people from the alternative community are getting violently attacked just purely for the fact that they listen to alternative music. And, you know, we're not talking about simple little things like getting shoulder rammed or insults shouted at them. We're talking about real violent crimes where people are getting beaten to within an inch of their lives and getting hospitalised with broken bones and sometimes even more life-threatening injuries. You know, and this sort of thing happens all the time, but nothing ever gets said about it. Nothing ever gets done. Whereas, you know, every day we hear about all these other sort of hate crimes going on around the world, like sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, religious hatred, ableism, etc. You know, we hear about these on a daily basis on all media platforms, from the most heinous and violent of these crimes, where someone is murdered because of the colour of their skin, or because of their sexual orientation, or because of their religious beliefs, etc., down to the most pathetic of these crimes, where entitled white women are calling the police on a black family because they're having, you know, a picnic in a public space. You know, we hear these sorts of things all the time in every facet of the news, but we never hear about these people that are getting beaten almost to death just because of their taste in music. And it is a very real problem. You know, the last time we heard anything about this was 13 years ago, when Sophie Lancaster and her boyfriend Rob Maltby were violently attacked and brutally beaten by a group of 5 or 6 people who punched them, kicked them, knocked them to the ground, stamped on their heads. They were beaten so severely that they both ended up in comas. Now, Rob Maltby, he did thankfully survive. He was in a coma for around about a week, maybe a bit longer. I can't remember exactly how long, but he survived. Sophie Lancaster, on the other hand, was in a coma for 13 days before she succumbed to her injuries and she died. This young woman was 20 years old and was beaten to death because of her taste in music and clothing. And, you know, like I said, this happened 13 years ago. It was all over the news for a couple of months or so. But we've never heard anything similar since. But I know for a fact that several hundred, if not several thousand more cases like that have occurred. They've just never been spoken about. And that's mainly because no one has died. And that is not acceptable. We shouldn't have to wait for someone to lose their life before this gets spoken about. I mean, only 2 years ago, a young woman in Scotland was doing a charity gig at a venue, and she had to go back to her home, which was a 5-minute walk away. And in that space of time between moving from the venue to her home, she was attacked twice by the same group of people who, similarly to Sophie Lancaster, punched her, kicked her, knocked her to the ground, gave her a good damn kick in. Where was this in the news? You know, what happened to Sophie Lancaster could very easily have happened to this young woman. She could very easily have lost her life. I mean, she was attacked twice by the same group of people in the space of 5 minutes. Just for the sake of the fact that she was wearing alternative clothing and because she listened to alternative music. Where was this in the news? Why didn't we hear anything about this? This is unacceptable. You know, what happened to Sophie Lancaster is something that we can never allow to happen again. It's something that should never have happened in the first place. And how long is it going to be before someone else is beaten to death just simply because of their taste in music? We cannot allow it to carry on. And this is what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is all about. They want to bring more attention to the fact that this sort of thing is happening. They want to bring more attention to the fact that, you know, people are getting violently attacked over the stupidest and pettiest of reasons. You know, you don't beat someone half to death because they like different movies to you. You don't beat someone half to death because they like different books or magazines to you. You know, you don't beat someone half to death because they like different flavoured crisps to you. So why would you beat someone half to death because they like different music? It makes no sense. You know, I mean, you don't even see people getting beaten to death because they listen to opera or Neil Diamond. What is it about heavy metal or alternative music that makes people want to beat them to death? It makes no sense. They call our music violent and aggressive. We're not the people going out attacking people. We're the people being attacked. What is going on? You know, something needs to be done, because like I said, what happened to Sophie Lancaster cannot be allowed to happen again. We need more people talking about this so something can be done. By ignoring this, we're essentially letting the people perpetrating these crimes get away with it. And that's unacceptable. We cannot allow that. So if you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there is a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, find out what their main goal is, because they can explain it a lot better than I can. And if you can help them out in any small way, obviously you don't feel obligated to do so, but if you can help them out in any small way, whether it be a small donation through their website or something like one of these Sophie wristbands, or maybe even this one should you feel the need, you know, they've got a whole bunch of other stuff as well, you know, but the smallest amount can make the biggest difference. And the sooner we get more people talking about this, the sooner we get more people involved in this, the sooner we can help to stamp out prejudice, hatred and intolerance everywhere. But I'm going to leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.